I'll admit, when I was a new Catholic just getting acquainted with the faith, I did not care much for Infant Jesus of Prague images. They seemed too puerile, too sentimental, too kitschy. These images seemed to me to represent all that was most ridiculous about Catholicism, dressing and undressing little statues in a bizarre expression of some superstitious folk religion. It's not surprising I reacted that way. Americans have never really had folk religion, and we're also unaccustomed to images of monarchy. There is something in the prevailing Anglo Protestant ethos that is suspicious of the aesthetics of royal pomp. We question it because it's not functional, not grounded in brutal realism. What's the point of that huge gown, we say? The real Jesus didn't look like that. But over time, I've come to really appreciate the infant Jesus of Prague. I started to love this image more while studying the Santo Niño de Cebu, the most popular religious image in the Philippines and a derivative of the infant Jesus of Prague. The Santo Niño helped me approach the image on a more pietistical level, setting aside my utilitarian rationalism. One really has to get out of that Anglo Protestant American mindset and enter the world of folk piety and religious symbolism to truly value this image. There is a very meaningful juxtaposition of themes in the infant Jesus of Prague: the helplessness and vulnerability of infancy with the power of regal authority. We don't usually see these images together. Kings and emperors are generally portrayed as grown men in the fullness of their virility. Infants, on the other hand, are usually depicted in swaddling clothes or in positions of repose, demonstrating their helplessness. But in the infant Jesus, we see infancy clothed in regal splendor. This speaks to the union of divine and human natures in the person of Jesus Christ. In his divinity, he is all powerful, clothed with the glory of God the Father and possessing infinite majesty, signified by the globe and crown, signs of royal power. But in coming as a man, he made himself vulnerable, like us in all things but sin, as the epistle to the Hebrews says. He ate, he slept, he wept, he bled, and he died. The infancy of the statue signifies all the limitations and vulnerabilities of human nature that he took on by becoming one of us. That the royal gown is typically removable on most images signifies how, in choosing to humble himself by death on the cross, Jesus voluntarily stripped himself of the divine authority that was rightfully his. Thus, the divine power of God and the finitude of human nature are combined in this one striking image. Christ is not merely an abstraction of divine energy, nor is he merely a teacher from Palestine who was crucified. Rather, the crucified man is at one and the same time eternal God, light from light, true God from true God. Divinity and humanity have been wed in his coming. This image symbolizes the glorification of human nature that began in the incarnation of Christ and will be consummated at the end of time, when all of us, we, dust and ashes, are clothed with immortality. All of this is implicit in this simple image. I think a consequence of our Anglo rationalism is a suspicion of messages that are merely implicit. The world of symbolism, of what is left unstated but must be apprehended by artistic sensibility. Implicit imaging is powerful. It moves us on a primal level, but it's also, by its very nature, hazy, undefined, existing in a realm of aesthetic our left brain society is uncomfortable navigating. We want sharp borders. We want the implicit to become explicit. But by making it so, we necessarily change how these realities are appreciated, siphoning away their symbolic power. I think this is what happened with the liturgical reform, and it's also what was behind my youthful disdain for this image. Thankfully, I have come to appreciate the rich symbolism of the infant Jesus of Prague, appreciating it for the mystery it communicates in its own humble way. It is not kitschy, it is profound. It is beautiful, and now, whenever I see the statue, I cannot refrain from throwing myself on my knees in front of it in homage of this awe inspiring mystery.